Okay, hello. Uh, this
There.
video is for our friends.
Yes.
So
Good
I'm
to be
Gabriela
here.
Flori.
Mhm. Thanks for inviting me. It's really nice to do this together and find out what's going on.
Yes, since I'm working with a very specific method, um, our friends are asking us about like what it really does,
Mhm.
how it works. And what I always tell everyone who is very new is that basically what is very, very specific about this is the results
Mhm.
and the direct connection with your higher self and the result of it itself already. And then with the information healing, which means that, or quantum healing, which means that the information where you got stuck can be put in pure water. And when you drink that water, it gets introduced to your water system and it immediately affects your being as it is. So
Mhm.
that's an unbelievable effect. But it really, I became a little bit aggressive with this message in a way that sometimes I'm saying this is the only way
Mhm.
to improve to the maximum level of your being here on earth, like what is like, of course you are perfect on the spiritual field now already. However, bringing that perfect pattern to earth, that's unbelievably effective with this method,
Mhm.
because we are being affected by so many physical and chemical and all kind of effects, like from the world, from outside, and we are so much unaware of that I am convinced that this method is unique by now. I hope it will not be, forever, because the more such methods are available, the better it is. But I always talk about, like heavy metals, which the medical world cannot even detect what kind of heavy metal you have in your system. And this method can even not just detect it, but remove it from your system.
Mhm.
And that's unbelievable, and it's just one little example what
Mhm.
this method can do. But what I wanted to do now
Mhm.
is that you did make a scan,
Right.
and I really would like to involve our friends
Mhm.
into what your opinion about this, like what was it, like what did this do to you, what other methods based on your belief cannot.
Mhm. Right. Well, thanks a lot. And thanks for inviting me to do this. It's been really exciting. I'd like to say that I've done 2 scans so far, and I haven't yet taken the drops. But even just the message about what you are doing, namely that there is this method, or in a sense, I guess there is the software that reads your energy or the information that is at a given moment compounded in your physical appearance. Just when I was reading these 2 lines, it immediately connected. So I guess I am quite convinced that it's a very unique way, and quite obviously a very effective way. I also, on the other hand, I don't believe it's the only way. Yeah, but it is definitely a very direct path. And maybe right away, what it did for me is, um, for many years now, I have been engaged in self-development, and but also really exploring alternative methods to understand who we truly are. Yeah, this notion, or this principle of knowing thyself, is a life guiding principle for me since a very young age. And and this is why, again, I was, when this method or this offer connected immediately with me, I realized that it connects to this principle. So it's clearly something that gives you a good insight in who you truly are or what is actually going on.
Yeah.
And of course, it's more effective if you are familiar with this, I would say, understanding that we are just entities of information that change constantly. Yeah. And um, and now maybe back to really my very personal experience. The first time I took the scan, it was like 10 days ago. And since it resonated so well with me, just finding out, then after this 30-second scan, getting the information that you were giving me from reading out the program, that is obviously very sophisticated to manage to interpret this 8 million pieces of information and really break it down to what is then relatable, yeah, and tangible for the person who's doing it. Yeah, so that the minute you were starting to read it out, it really reverberated and started resonating, and just by hearing it and resonating, instigating change and instigating the impulse, really impulsing me to go further. That's probably the most powerful aspect of the experience, that it's when you're ready of sorts, it connects instantly. And I will, as we've discussed before, I did do another scan, and I will be going ahead and taking the drops now. But obviously, I can't say so much about this yet. I'm happy to report on it once I'm going ahead with that part of the process. But it's been very good already for me.
Yeah, yeah. I went really specific with this. I really wanted to go that far in like this process of specification, so that I would ask only for money only for that part which I am really experienced in, which is the process of closing our system, which is like 99.9% of the people I meet with. Our system is widely open and vulnerable. So I'm just like leading them through this process of closing up our own system. And it doesn't mean that we separate ourselves from the world. It means that we are delivering the very unique pattern we
Yeah,
are.
the essence and the treasure that we all hold.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah, and it's an excellent image to speak of, yeah, the system, or in my metaphors, I have a Buddhist background, and ongoingly one of the main focuses in this lifelong and many lives long practice is to become a vessel, and to become a vessel worthy of your message, or worthy of who you truly are. And yes, I totally agree that we're all actually vessels that are either completely open, yeah, so it's like a bucket with a huge hole in it and the information is just going right through it, or it's a vessel that is tainted, that is contaminated with other substances, or of course it's a vessel that is turned upside down, so it doesn't allow any of this essential information to enter. And there are all kinds of techniques to, in my practice, to become this clean and very sacred vessel. But I totally understand that this is what your process has to offer, or what this process has to offer. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have two comments on this. I'm sorry for like, we wanted to make it really short, but
Yes, that's okay.
it just comes, like it just comes
Right.
to me. The first aspect is that whenever it is a beautiful, beautiful process. I just love, I love the process. It's just like really nurturing someone, like giving a birth to a person, really spiritually. And what I experienced was that whoever managed to close this jam, who is herself or himself, they never ever question anymore if they have a right to live here.
Right.
They just sense that it is them, and if they are not here, this pattern will be missed from the whole. And they just have this inner conviction that it is so specific. And so many people see the world as like people are clashing, and crossing each other's ways. But I am going with these clients so specific that they become like really like stars on the sky, like really like not even thinking about that they will clash with anyone.
Right.
Because their way of manifesting themselves is so specific that they don't clash in any other, other people's ways. And
Yeah.
it's beautiful. They don't fear anymore anything because
Yeah.
they're
And this,
really
in this sense, obviously, or not obviously, but I come from a background where for many years I wouldn't really connect with terminology such as well, fighting and warrior and knighthood, and yet it makes perfect sense in this context, and just what I've already found out from the process just by this the short scan is already stepping across exactly what you just mentioned, no longer being afraid of old misconceptions of what certain things mean or might have meant, yeah, and rather going right through it and understanding that in this sense, quantum night is the perfect term for it, because it's really about yeah, it's really about empowering, of taking ownership, of really stepping up and taking responsibility, and fully integrating in who you really are. And so it's not about your personal associations that you may have with the Middle Ages or with whatever what it did for women at the time. It's not about Game of Thrones, maybe. It's none of that. It's really this very very clean and very clear message of supporting to become whole and supporting to become who you truly are. Yeah, it's a
yeah.
tremendous.
Yeah, I know it is there is a picture from Hopi Indians, and it's carved in a rock like thousands of years ago, and it is about the like the path of humanity on Earth. And they gave a description about it, like their own magicians, what the whole picture means, and I will post it on my homepage, because if I'm talking about it, then I should. And there is like the world wars are on the picture, and there is one last connection, like it is like the one path is being divided into two, like before the First World War. And then those two paths are just like parallel running, and there is the Second World War. And then the upper one, the upper line, is just getting like up in the air, like in a zigzag, like
Going straight up.
yeah, it's like not in a good meaning. It's just the ones who are getting like really messed up, and they just lose all the connection with Earth. And there, the other line is just showing like happy people, happy animals, happy Earth.
Yeah.
And with this method, where we can basically through pure water, we can communicate with plants, animals, and everything.
Mm.
Because they are preparing like water with the information of like loneliness, and if you are just spraying it on an animal when you are leaving from home, the animal is just sensing it, because this is the basic language, like the root language of the whole living, you know, entities.
Mhm.
So this is just beautiful, like
Yes, it is. And it's you know, it's so magical, and certainly there is a certain mysticism. Yeah, we're not quite at a point yet where only yesterday somebody was asking, so how do you do the scan if we're, you know, thousands of kilometers apart? So obviously there is still some conceptual boundaries that we have to overcome, but it's a magical and yet a very tangible and simple and effective process. I know this already. Yeah.
yeah, and it can work in an opposite way also, because many people are asking me like, how can this work? And I say like, you don't really have to understand before. Maybe
No.
you will understand after you
Right.
are making the scan, and you will say like, wow, so there is a morphogenetic field,
Yeah.
fields. Like you don't have to know it,
No.
but you can learn from this experience that there is
Exactly.
one.
Yeah. Yeah. We need to do this again. I think maybe for our first interview, this was really a lot of information, and I do hope it's helpful for some of our viewers. And we'll just come back, especially maybe if you have one or the other viewer who has a question, and maybe we can address these questions that will
Yeah, that's
now
a
come
good
up.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's really
thank you
great.
very much.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
your
It's
time.
really wonderful,
Thank
and
you
I'm
for
looking forward.
taking the risk.
Totally my pleasure.
So
You're
see you next time.
your great support. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.